In Bubble Town all the people were round, and all their houses square, and no matter how much you looked around and around, you'd find no sad people there. Round they were, 4 colours round, like little coloured bubbles, red and yellow, purple and green, bubbles that didn't like trouble. But trouble came, big trouble, in the form of a grey and not very round, but very judgmental puddle. A puddle left after a long night of rain that cold and stronger kept pouring, and although most of the bubbles would hear the storm, it would be easier to say you were snoring. And anyway, what was wrong with rain when it cleaned and washed and promised to make flowers bloom and to remove all the rubbish from your house and your streets and your wallets? And so it poured and rained and rained and poured, and then left the bubbles as a gift, the puddle. An odd drop of water, a mirror on the floor, that wouldn't reflect some people. Purple people. It wouldn't reflect the purple bubble people. Red and yellow, yellow and green, but purple? They asked it why, but how could it reply? The rain hadn't left it a mouth. All the people knew was when the bubbles looked down. Let's just say it didn't look good. This was trouble. Grey, puddle, bubble, trouble. Especially when all the people were just so used to being liked. Now purple bubbles were a strong part of the town. Doctors and lawyers, key cutters and clowns. They worked in the banks, they worked in the farms. They were happy, they were friendly, and they were proud. They lived next to the greens, had coffee with the reds, and they played chess in the park with the yellows. And before the puddle had judged them unfit, the only difference they'd known was, well, nothing. But it didn't stop there. Oh no. As the days passed, the puddle got pickier. It became a colder and pickier, much pickier puddle that refused to reflect any coloured puddle who dared to keep a purple friend. But look down again, once they were friends no more, and there they'd find themselves in this mirror on the floor, smiling green and red and yellow bubbles, bubbles that didn't like trouble. But more trouble came. With every new day, the puddle grew pickier. It became a pickier and even more pickier puddle, until, for no reason given, it would no longer reflect any of the red, yellow, or any green bubbles who happened to live on a street where there were bubbles who were of a certain colour, a certain purple colour. Oh, what trouble! What big coloured bubble trouble! And so to save the peace, the purple bubbles were all moved into one part of town. Purple Place, which is sort of downtown. Then, in the Coloured Bubble Town single newspaper, the Coloured Bubble Town's Gazette, a story was printed of one yellow inventor who'd come up with an idea to make things better. How about, he wrote, if purple bubbles wore bags on their heads, and on the front of the bags we could paint yellow bubbles or green or perhaps even red, and they'd have eye holes and armholes and big friendly smiles that would confuse or rather trick the puddle. But all the purple bubbles wrote back, and all their angry letters said no. One purple bubble, who was sick to death of all this trouble, wrote in and asked, what does it matter who the puddle doesn't reflect? All it is some shallow grey water. But a red bubble wrote back to the Coloured Bubble Town Gazette and said, only a bubble who had never seen itself in the puddle would ask something stupid like that. So, frightened that they too would anger the puddle, all the yellow and red and all the green bubbles stopped shopping in those purple bubble shops, and sold purple popular pancake patties, purple popping popcorn stores, plastic purple pencil providers, profound poetical purple prints, purple primrose potted plants, purple not pink playful plumbers, and purple pampered poultry performers, one after another, because of no business, had to start closing down. This was bad. Coloured Bubble Town was becoming sad. A town meeting had to be called. In Coloured Bubble Town's main meeting square, all the people talked and talked. and all the talk was about the puddle, until, after hours and hours had passed, all the red and yellow and all the green bubbles decided that, to stop all the trouble, it would probably be best if any bubble that happened to be purple-ish just got going. Just got going where, the purple bubbles asked. Just got going, gone. And since the purple bubbles naturally refused, coloured Bubble Town was their home, the other bubbles at Pinpoint began marching the purple bubbles out of town. On buses and trucks, in trains and in cars, packed with their TVs, fridges, DVDs and VCRs, the purple bubbles, their round and teary bubble heads held high, left coloured Bubble Town forever. "I don't understand," one little red bubble asked as he watched them go. "Wouldn't it be easier just to get rid of the puddle? All it would take was one great big splash." "Oh, I don't know," said his big bubble mother. "That seems to me to be an awful lot of trouble. And anyway, you should be thankful for the puddle. If it wasn't for the puddle not reflecting purple bubbles, you may have grown up without ever knowing that purple bubbles were bad."
We are Australia.